Good afternoon, Pokesports, and welcome to another set video for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Today, we're going to be looking at everyone's favorite fire crocodile, the evolution of Fuecoco, Skeledirge. Now, Skeledirge, at first glance, kind of looks like an interesting Pokemon. It's kind of got a lot of stats all over the place. It's kind of slow. It's kind of tanky. It kind of hits hard. It kind of does everything, which scares me. But today, we go ahead and look at 3 different sets for Skeledirge that I think can be competitively viable. Now, taking a quick look at Skeledirge, we're running with the Fire and Ghost type. Not an exclusive type that we haven't seen before yet. The most popular one that comes to mind is Chandelure when it comes to Fire and Ghost. But the difference between Skeledirge and Chandelure is that Chandelure was a glass cannon. Skeledirge is kind of the opposite, which is really interesting with, you know, a type combination that does have 5 weaknesses, those weaknesses being water, ground, ghost, dark, and rock. But the thing is, you are still allowed to be tanky because of your numerous amounts of resistances and immunities, right? You're resistant to fire, ice, grass, poison, bug, steel, fairy, with also the added immunities to go to fighting and normal, right? Overall, as well, your stats are off the charts. You have 104 in HP, 75 in attack. You're not using that attack, so don't worry. 100 in defense, 110 in special attack, 75 in special defense. We could fix that later on, don't worry. And 66 in speed, which is kind of in a little bit of an awkward speed tier. There are a lot of Trick Room Pokemon that are slower than you, and there are a lot of Trick Room Pokemon that aren't slower than you. So you're kind of in that middle ground there, kind of in that average speed tier. You're definitely not a fast Pokemon. In my opinion, you should still try to build for Trick Room. But you're also not allowed to not go fast, you know? You could still try to go fast or try to just go average speed. You're kind of at that weird T-Tar speed, right? Where it kind of still works outside of Trick Room, but does well in Trick Room. But overall, those stats are incredibly stupid in a great way, right? I don't know what they were thinking. With 104 HP, there are restricted Pokemon that don't have that much HP. With base 100 defense, there are restricted Pokemon that don't have that much defense. So I think overall, just you being on the defensive side is very, very, very tanky. And we're going to have a lot of sets today that kind of do explore that more tanky mindset. But this set for now, we're going with straight damage, straight simple Trick Room Skeledirge set, right? We got the max HP, we got the max special attack because that is our that is our highest stat, actually. Our special attack is our highest stat at base 110, HP being our second highest stat at base 104. We got no attack IVs. This is kind of more important than most 0 attack for special attackers because you're ghost type, so you are weak to dark, which means foul plays will be hurting you. So the lowest you can get that attack IV, the better. I know it's not mandatory, it's kind of a luxury, but if you can get that attack IV to 0, that'd be very ideal. The speed IV pretty much has to be 0 because that's just the only way you're going to work in Trick Room, and you want to make sure that you have that upper hand against your opponent there. The remainder 4 EVs, I'm just sticking in special defense because that's our very weak defense. We don't really have to give more defense to our defense because we already have enough defense. So let's just give it to our special defense. The hidden ability is Unaware. Ability patches are in the game and they're very hard to get, but they're in there. If you can't get Unaware, this is probably the worst of the 3 starter hidden abilities. Not to say that Unaware is bad, because Unaware is pretty good, especially for a tanky Pokemon that just ignores your stat boosts. But the thing is, when you compare it to Moxie and Protean, that's where the story gets a little bit convoluted. It's the worst of 3 very good abilities, is the best way to say it. So if you have to run Blaze, run Blaze. Really try to get that ability patch. It's very late game and it's very hard to get. So try your best. We're running the Life Orb set here because, like I said, I wanted this to be a tanky special attacking set in Trick Room. So we're running Life Orb with the quiet nature, the negative speed. Again, you want to make sure your speed is as low as possible. Also running Heat Wave for the spread move damage. I kind of want this to be a doubles Pokemon, so we have 2 spread moves here with Heat Wave. A little bit of a supportive option with Snarl, just in case you got to lower your opponent's special attack, just in case they're hitting you too hard. And also have the Shadow Ball here, kind of as your secondary stab. That can kind of be a lot of different things. I do know that Skeledirge has access to a lot of different moves, has access to things like Hyper Voice, if you really want to go down that route. It has a lot of other fire moves like Torch Song and like Flamethrower. I have Torch Song in later sets because that's kind of the exclusive move for Skeledirge. I just think that when it comes to a double setting, Heat Wave, you could still kind of make use of Heat Wave a lot more, just because when you have to spread out your damage, it's all about chipping your opponent. If you can get those little chips, if you get those burn chances, then it does really well for you in the end game. But that's kind of the thought behind this Life Orb set. It's not meant to be super tanky. It's meant to do as much damage as it possibly can. Now, we talked about the bad special defense. This set is meant to fix it, right? We have the Assault Vest this time around. We're still running pretty much the exact EVs and IVs with the 0 attack and 0 speed IVs with the 252 HP, 252 special attack, and 4 special defense. EVs, and also running that quiet nature with the negative speed and the positive special attack. Keep your ability the same as well. Your ability should never change. If you have Unaware, every set should have Unaware. The difference with this set, though, is that I added Torch Song here because I can't have things like Protect. So Torch Song's always a nice little addition, especially when you're trying to play a more tanky set, right? You don't have the Life Orb to give you that additional damage, because you're opting for a more defensive build with the Assault Vest. So Torch Song kind of allows you to get that added special attack to compensate for the lack of no Life Orb while still not losing any of the defenses that you gain from the Assault Vest. And with this Assault Vest, I mean, honestly, you're getting a lot of special defense here. 50% increase on your special defense pretty much puts your special defense at par with your defense. So now you just become a Pokemon with base 104 HP and then base 100 in both defenses. You're a tank. You are tanky. But yeah, that's the Assault Vest set for Skeledirge. Not too much different from the last set, but I did think that I should mention this one. This final set that I have for you guys, that one's a doozy. Now, this one's a little weird, but honestly, it's weird in a good way because I personally think that it's going to be pretty strong, especially if it catches your opponent off guard. If your opponent hits you expecting to KO you and then you just live it, that is always going to throw your opponent off. And I just also found out that, you know how before I said Skeledirge with base 104 HP and 100 defense is a tank? This proves that it's a tank, and even further boosts the fact that it's a tank because it has an egg move of Slack Off. Slack Off. Not a lot of Pokemon get access to Slack Off. You give this Pokemon with base 104 HP access to Slack Off, I'm going to put it on a set. On top of that, you're also allowed to run Will-O-Wisp with this Pokemon and Hex. You get Stab on Hex. That Hex gets double boosted damage if the enemy opponent is statused. Will-O-Wisp helps with that status. On top of that, you also have Torch Song just in case you need to get stronger for more situations, right? The Torch Song allows you to build tanky while also still having the special attack needed to get some crucial KOs. So we're running a bold nature here with positive defense and negative attack. Like I said, you don't need the attack. And since this is kind of not really a Trick Room team, it goes back to what I said of this can kind of work inside and outside of Trick Room. I'm going to run the 31 speed IVs here as well. We still want to make sure we minimize those attack IVs as much as possible. I'm not going to give any added EVs to speed because it's not like I'm trying to outspeed anything. I kind of just want to exist in that space, know what outspeeds me, and then just figure it out from there. So the thought process behind this is, okay, no one's knocking you out physically. No physical Pokemon's knocking you out physically because you have things like Will-O-Wisp, you have things like max defense. So you can really just sit there in front of any physical Pokemon and not care. I mean, of course, there's examples like Dark types, which will give you a problem, like Urshifu, you know, if it ever comes back, might give you a problem later down the line because you get those crit moves. But overall, you can kind of just sit there in front of a physical attacker and not care. Now, you do still have the problem of special attackers hitting you. That you're just going to have to compensate with another Pokemon because instead of compensating on that with the Assault Vest like we did in the last set, we don't have any compensation for that. The compensation that we have is Leftovers for the chip damage that we're going to take from these special attackers. And honestly, Leftovers plus Slack Off, that's a lot of healing that you're going to get. So if you can kind of get the Skeledirge set up in a way or in a situation that it can sit on the field and outlast your opponent, if they can't kill you, they can't win, right? That's the thought process. If they can't kill you, they can't win. And honestly, this Skeledirge set, I think is going to be a little sleeper. A little sleeper. And there you have the 3 sets for Skeledirge. If you guys enjoyed today's video, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button down below or subscribe to Pokesports if you haven't done so already. Let me know what you think of the sets down below in the comment section as well. Also, if you have any recommended sets that I didn't think of, go ahead, let me know in the comment section as well. We'll go ahead and go over those and just try to see and pick out our favorites. Might even feature them later in the video. But yeah, with that said, I'm Kevin, this Pokesports. Have a great night. Thanks for watching and peace out. Bye-bye.